has been redesigned. Mitchell has left the room. Um, there he is. He's back again. Um, you can leave if you want. I mean, I understand you're probably in the room somewhere, but so anyway, the final project has been redesigned for the primary reason being that okay, so the final project is supposed to be a real research project. And we want to, the physics department and likes to be the leader of research on campus. And we had instituted a sort of real research project as part of Physics 100 level, which is, somewhat unique. But given the situation that we're in, we just thought there's no need to put that kind of pressure on you guys right now. We can give you a break. And so we redesigned the final project. It's still a 4-week project, and we still expect you to do some work, but it really is hopefully going to be a fun project to do. So you're not going to get the real research experience, which is important for an undergraduate, but hopefully you will get plenty of that in your undergraduate time. But what we're going to do for the final project is we're going to do movie science. And we are going to have you pick a movie that you will carefully watch and analyze at least 3 scenes in the movie for good or bad science. And it's got to be real analysis, calculations, discussion of the science, etc. So for instance, I believe that in our 115 class, for those of you who are in 115, we took the clip of the bus jumping the bridge in speed and actually calculated how far the bus would actually jump and how far it jumped in the movie. So doing some kind of real analysis on a scene, and it doesn't have to be physics, although maybe we should say one of the scenes should be physics, but chemistry, biology, whatever. One of my favorite movies, one of my favorite movies is Charlie's Angels. One of the, I can't remember which one, but each of the angels. I don't know. Have any of you seen the modern Charlie's Angels movies? Just you don't have to turn on your mic. No. Okay. Like each one is good at something different, and one's good at chemistry-ish kind of things, one's good at biology kind of things, and so they throughout the movie, they every once in a while spout out this, science, and it's kind of fun to analyze if the science that they really talk about was correct. And if any of you have ever seen my Science in the Movies short presentation, or class presentation that I do for admissions, I do some of that. So it's picking a movie, picking at least 3 scenes in the movie that you can truly analyze for good or bad science. And let's just try to say that at least one of them should be physics. And so again, this is going to be, it's going to be a much easier pace, given that you have 4 weeks to do this. This is something you could do in a week, right? So this first week, we're just going to ask you, week 1, by the end of the week, and let's say by the end of Friday, today's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. By the end of the 10th, you're going to pick your movie, and you have to get your movie approved by me. Okay, sorry, let me take a step back and say, you can do this as a group project. You do not have to do this independently. You can do this as a group project. I know that's obviously not trivial, given that we're not in the same place, but those of you in particular who have reasonable access to the internet, and is okay at communicating, you can communicate with a classmate and do it with one other person. Prefer probably just groups of 2, and that's actually the preference. Groups of 2 are preferred over groups of 1, and are definitely preferred over groups of 3. But you can work on it by yourself if you find that that's just going to be too difficult to work on it with somebody else. And if you really, really, really have a reason to work on it in a group of 3, well, I just think that's probably not going to be reasonable. But we could talk about it. Okay. The screen is filled up now. So what 5:50? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. Oh, it's still just 15 of us. They just change sizes. The blocks change sizes, so sometimes I can't tell how many people are here. Okay, sorry. So you're gonna by Friday the 10th, 5 p.m. by the end of the workday, I want you to pick your group, whether it's individual or a pair, and pick your movie. But you must let me know, and I must approve it. It's hard to believe that I wouldn't approve something, but if I've seen the movie and I just think that there's no way to do any real analysis of a scene, maybe I can help guide you there. But you do need to let me know by Friday the 10th at 5 p.m. Then the week of it, I'm just reading an outline that Dr. Schenk basically put together for me. The week of April 13th, so that's next week. So we will meet, unless I say otherwise, we will meet every week for the rest of the semester. We will meet at lab time every week for the rest of the semester. So on the 13th, we will meet, and on the 20th, we will meet, and on the 27th, you will have presentations. I'm going to say that again, just in case anybody is recording any of this. On the 13th, we will meet. On the 20th, we will meet. And on the 27th, we will have presentations. Right this second, I'm not sure what we will have you report on the 13th and 20th, but we will have you report some aspect of your progress. I think that's what we will do on the 13th. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at my iPad. We will have you report some version of your progress on the 13th and 20th. The week of, obviously on the 13th, you won't have made much progress necessarily because you will have only chosen your movie. The week of the 13th, between the 13th and the 20th, you must have solidly picked your 3 scenes from the movie and have outlined what you, or have at least thought about what you will analyze in those 3 scenes. So by the 20th, and so I won't say by the Friday, by the time we meet on the 20th, you will have chosen your 3 scenes and thought about what you will analyze, and we will ask you to report your progress in person on the 20th. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm just, again, let me just restate that on the 20th, we will ask you to report your 3 scenes and an outline of what you're going to analyze. And then on the 27th, we will have you do a formal presentation. You can create that formal presentation in, let's say, for example, PowerPoint or Google Slides if you really need to. You guys do know that you all have free versions of Microsoft Office, right? So you can use Google Slides certainly, but sometimes PowerPoint is superior. But you can use whatever presentation form you want. You don't even have to use PowerPoint or Google Slides, and you will present your final calculations and observations about the movie on the 27th, individually or as a group. Depending on the number of people, whether it's 2s or 1s, maybe we might use that to gauge how long your presentation should be, but typically your presentations are 7 to 10 minutes, minimum of 7, maximum of 10. So we'll probably still just leave it there, 7 to 10 minutes for the presentations on the 27th. So again, on the 13th, I'm not entirely sure what you'll report. Maybe you will just report to the group. Yeah, I think probably that's what we'll do on the 13th. You will report to the group what movie you've chosen and what thoughts you have. On the 20th, now you're reporting your scenes and your outlines. And then on the 27th, your final presentation. Okay, that now I have thought through in my head. Any questions? If you don't have a question, I guess you just stay quiet. Pretty clear then, I guess. Pretty clear then. Just, you don't have to turn on your microphones. For those of you who I can see, just do you think that you're likely to I'll ask the question, and I'll tell you how to give me a cent. Do you think you're likely to work by yourself or in a pair, or would you prefer to work in a pair? So the question is, would you prefer to work in a pair? If so, nod your head yes. If not, shake your head no. I'm just sort of curious. Okay. Yeah, question. Okay. All right. So three of you said you don't really care. The other two said you prefer to work in a pair. That's good. Hopefully you guys can find pairs to work in. And you guys can obviously work with whoever you want. But if you want to work in a pair and want me to help pair people up, I'm happy to do that. But okay. Any questions or comments?
Should we like create some Excel sheet or Google Sheets that has all the pairs just in case you do have to assign?
Yes. Yeah. So maybe what I should do is create a Google Sheet with everybody's name on it. And yeah, that would be a as good a way of reporting as submitting it to Moodle, right? I could create a Google Sheet, share it, and then on that Google Sheet, I'll put your names, and then you can start to pair yourselves and put movie names. And yes, I can definitely suggest some possible movies. I can suggest, you know what I definitely would probably do is suggest some of my favorite movies that I've used, which I did start to realize that some of the favorite movies that I've used are getting to be a little bit aged. For me, they're recent, right? Early 2000s. For you, they're before you were born, right? So I may not have any good suggestions about movies in the last couple of years, but I definitely have some ones that I really like because I think they have good things to analyze in them. I think that the movies that work just fine but don't work great are the movies that just have a lot of kind of silly action scenes where there are just impossible jumps and impossible, like car chases and stuff that just happen over and over again. I think they're fine if you choose to analyze a movie like that, but I stay away from those just because it's just the same kind of thing. People get into car crashes, and they flip upside down and they walk out of the car. I mean, that's just never going to happen, right? Well, that's not true, right? That's not true. It's never going to happen. But it happens way too often in the movies. Last night, I can't remember what movie it was. A police car is going full speed into a brick wall or whatever, and boom, and then the policeman gets out of the car. I mean, that's just never going to happen, at least that easily. It hurt. I once very embarrassingly, driving the cross country team, I hit a telephone pole in one of the school vans going 5 miles an hour. 5 miles an hour, and it hurt. I mean, seriously, it was, when you just go boom like that at 5 miles. I mean, I know some of you have gotten into car accidents, and I'm sorry, but I mean, it's just you don't realize how much of a force, and that's something that you can definitely calculate and is worth calculating, right? What kind of forces are you actually up against when you're hitting something and coming to a dead stop? Those forces are so much larger than you would imagine. But anyway, sorry, I got on a sidetrack. But yeah, so I can certainly, what I do is I'll let you think about and do some research on some movies on your own. But if you get to, today's Monday, if you get to Wednesday and you feel like you need some advice, then ask. I'm not going to volunteer movie names because I do want you to do a little work on your own to think a little bit about. But if you're just, if you feel like you can't come up with anything that you think is unique or special, then certainly ask my advice come Wednesday.
What do you
yes.
Do you want to try to have everybody have a different movie, or if we do same movie, different scenes, or?
Good point. I guess ideally everybody with a different movie, but I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to, let's, ideally it's everybody with, ideally it's everybody with a different movie. But understand, I think it'd probably be okay if two people are doing the same movie, probably not great if any more than two. But if you are doing the same movie, then it's going to be a little harder but it would really be great if you guys did different scenes. Although it could be interesting to see without you discussing ahead of time what your different takes are on a given scene. So maybe we'll say we'll put a Google Sheet out there. People will start filling it in. We will ask you to try to stick with different movies, but if you really, if you were really gung ho on a movie, I'm all right with that. With two people doing the same movie, because some good could come out of that too. Okay. Were there any comments worth me reading? We can write down the movie we're doing. Yep. Okay. All right. Other questions, comments? All right. All right. Well, you guys know where to find me. And while you are going to report in the Excel sheet by Friday at 5 p.m., we will have you report in person next Monday, and we'll talk a little bit more about the directions that we're going. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good week.
Yeah, thanks for.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.